Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Monday Night Muscle with the voice of professional bodybuilding, Bob Ciccarello. I'm your host, Sean Ray, and we got the real deal, Chris Cormier. Cormier is what he calls himself.
Oh, we Cormier now? Are we going French?
Cormier. We're doing it like that.
We're going to go way back to Broderick from Palm Springs. What's going on, baby?
Nobody knows that. A few people out there in the bodybuilding world, Chris, knows what your real name is.
It's a long ways from being He's a long way from being Broderick. What's going on, Chris?
How you doing, guys? Good to be here.
Good. We know that you are, you used to be globetrotting. I'm sure things have slowed down a little bit now in the whole COVID year for everybody, but you have really reinvented yourself. I was telling Bob about a movie you made that he hasn't yet to see, which I made a cameo appearance in. Bob, what was it called? The Real Deal, Chris? Or
yeah, I Am the Real Deal.
I Am the Real Deal.
Yeah, and it's on Amazon Prime, Bob. If you ever get a chance, I'm sure you got some downtime with the pandemic going on.
Am I in it? Do I have any cameos, or am I even announcing you as a winner or anything?
You know, you're going to be in the next one.
I'm in part 2.
There's going to be a part 2.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be a part 2.
Nice.
Yourself, Jim Mannion.
Okay, all right.
All the boys. I got to get Mannion in there because I told him to interview him at the Olympia, but they skipped out on it, so we're going to have to make a second one.
Well, I'm all in, buddy. But yeah, I'll definitely check out the first one. But I assume it chronicles your career from start to current, or what's it?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, to start to current, and showing coming from competing all over the world, the stresses and the trials and tribulations of life that comes along with it, and just kind of letting the next generation know that, hey, tomorrow's not promised. You got to do what you can while you have a chance to, and to take full advantage of competing each and every time you have a chance to compete.
Well, one of the things you've been able to do very successfully is channel all the stuff that you learned throughout your bodybuilding career and now pay it forward to the next generation coming up. I witnessed you work exclusively with Rolly Winkler when he won the Arnold Classic over in Australia. I watched you help out Nathan Diasha, who just went through some stuff, Bob. We'll get to that. You've worked with a lot of high-end bodybuilders, even some that didn't give you the proper just dues. I get mad at those guys when you help them and they don't give you the shout out. I know you work with Sergio Oliva Jr. and some other guys.
They should.
But you know what? We see what you do. You are a blue-collar worker. We've done muscle camps all over the place, Chris, you and I, and we came up in the business together. But you've done successfully what a lot of other bodybuilders haven't been able to do, and that's kind of like work with guys to make them better and send them into the victory circle, not only on the training but also on the posing. And I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger even pointed you out at the Arnold Classic when they had Rolly Winkler up there. Remember that?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, man, I mean, you're getting recognized by people for your work, even though there's a lot of athletes you help that won't give up the props on the level that I think they should. How is it working with some of these guys? Because when you were bodybuilding, you just had to survive your workout with Flex Wheeler and Rico and Charles Glass, but now you have to work with guys that don't have the mental fortitude that you have, they don't have that hunger that you've had, and you've got to try to instill it in them to make them better. Is it tough?
Yeah, it's very challenging, and it's very, frustrating sometimes because it's like you trusted in me, that you've seen my body work. You know that I've been there. You know I've done that, and you know I know what I'm talking about when it comes to what I feel it takes and what I'm looking at the person and what I feel they need to improve on and bring their best package forward to compete. So. Yeah, it's frustrating, but a lot of times it's so rewarding to actually see some people get it, and understand what it's going to take and what I'm asking for them to, basically run through that wall during this set.
Absolutely.
And that's the good part, but it's very stressful. You got, so everyone's watching to see what's going to happen, and so you want them to fare out well, but yeah, it's very stressful at times. Yeah.
Chris, you find a lot of the newer generation is looking for the magic pill or some big secret that they're going to get with the real deal. I'm going to train with Chris, and they're kind of waiting for this big unveiling. And I'm guessing that what you're teaching them is like, look, there is no magic pill. Right. There is no one big secret that I'm going to just kind of give to you that I've been saving and all. It's good hard work, and it's getting in the gym, and it's following the protocol. And I'm guessing that, do you get that a lot with a lot of the newer guys that you're training with?
I get it more times than not, because it's not a secret, and things that I teach is everyone knows it, they just don't apply it.
Right.
And then people have this idea that, it's a lot of flash, there's a lot of, just going to take this and it's going to happen, but it takes time. It takes, back in the day, we didn't have that microwavable mentality about what we were doing. We knew it was going to take a month or 2 months to
or
make
years
some change.
even. Yeah, even years. Yeah.
To make some solid change. So it was I just think people want things too fast, and they jumping from coach to coach to coach to coach.
Yeah.
And all you do is just do your research, make sure that person can bring you where you need to go, and they can actually do what you need from what that person, and stick with that person.
Yeah, and
everything's not going to come out right. You may wake up, as you guys know, you get ready for a show, it's pitfalls and valleys and mountains and peaks again, even throughout the week when you get ready for a show. But it's like, it's not every time you're gonna look your best, but you guys got to keep plugging away and building fiber on top of fiber and doing your thing.
Now, I imagine winning is obviously the end game, but when you're working with somebody for the first time, there's that trial period. Like, you got to get in there, figure out how their body reacts to your style of training, their style of nutrition, and really the goal is just to make them improve. Yeah, it'd be nice if they win, but sometimes it takes 1 or 2 or 3 shots at making these guys into champions. Do you fall that a lot of people fall away if it doesn't come to them right away?
Yeah, because that's what I tell people. Like, don't worry about winning every show. Like, when I went in, like, as a rookie in the sport, I wanted to win, of course, just like anybody else. But I was okay with 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever it's going to take, because I'm improving, I'm making my way, and I'm taking the steps it's going to take to get to where I want to be. But a lot of people put a lot of pressure on themselves. Yeah. They want to win every show they're in, and they put in everything that they feel like they need to do, and then they're getting frustrated when they don't win. But it's like, it's not about that. Did you improve?
Yeah.
Did you look a lot better than the last time? That's the most important thing.
Well, Chris, you're probably the best guy to be giving these advices to these up-and-coming athletes, as you had a great career. But most people don't notice. I don't even know if you know your own stats, but how many pro wins did you end up with?
I think around 12.
Okay.
Like
And now, this is something a lot of people don't know. How many runner-ups did you finish with?
About 22.
Yeah. Now, I bring that up for a good reason, right? Chris is walking the walk and talking the talk. When he's talking to these kids coming up here, and they are kids, unfortunately, at all our ages now, but, listen, you grew up in, not even arguably, the toughest era of bodybuilding, the most competitive era that there was, when you had the likes of anybody from Sean to Ronnie Coleman next to you for all these years, Jay Cutler. I mean, you had Dexter Jackson. You had them all.
A lot of Mr. Olympias.
So, and it's not even, and I'm sure you try to explain this to a lot of your clients now, sometimes it's not that you did anything wrong, it's just that they went with the other guy, or maybe he just got one more vote than you did. Right. Listen, there was a lot of those second place finishes and those 20-something finishes that easily could have been victories for you. Easily.
And I felt, it's been well documented that how I feel about some of my placings, but some of them was second. Sometimes, I mean, I look back now, I even see some like, damn, I'm lucky I got second, somewhere on the show. Right. But at the time, you just want, you want what you want. I left Palm Springs to go to Venice to become a champion, and being on the likes of Sean and all the different guys that Flex and all those guys that was going to be in Venice and in Orange County. I moved to these different areas and stayed for a while.
Yeah, I remember even when your career was over, Chris, and you had suffered a back injury and you were in the hospital, and somewhere along the way you decided to make your comeback, right? Was that, and then you went to England to work with Dorian Yates, or did you have the injury after that?
I had the injury before Dorian Yates.
Yeah. So before you went to England to train with the Shadow Bob, this guy was hungry.
That was something.
He went all the way to train with Dorian Yates to try to find out like what he needed, the motivation, because he wanted to get it all back. And it's well documented on YouTube. I love that video, by the way, Chris, as you're sitting there dry heaving, doing legs.
Good classic. Good times.
That was the first time, but I did a second run of throwing up like minutes later. So that was the first one. You missed the second.
Listen, but where I'm taking this is that you use your own resources to go all the way out of the country looking for that motivation in a coach from someone that had been there and done that. Dorian won 6 Olympias on his way out. Right. And you trained with the best in the world, but even you needed someone to like light that fuse so that you're practicing what you preach. When you're telling these kids how to do it, and you're inviting them into the lion's den to train them. He's a Leo, so the lion Leo.
I was wondering what the
You invite them into the lion's den, and then you beat them up like you do. Some of them don't want to come back, but I mean, at the end of the day, you can't get better unless you come back. And you went all the way to England to try to figure it out.
Well, Chris, we got to find out. We got to get the behind-the-scenes scoop with training with Dorian, and we're gonna catch up on that right after the breaker. So hang tight, Chris. Back with the real deal in just a moment. All right, back with the real deal himself, Chris Cormier.
Yes.
Now we're going to go with French version, all right? We call him Cormier for 30 years.
Cormier.
Now we're going to. That's okay, Chris. It's all about reinventing yourself, my friend.
That's right.
So before the break, we got into the Dorian year, as it would be.
The comeback.
This is later in your career. You had some setbacks, you had some injuries. You decided, okay, I'm going to give this maybe another shot, and you got this great idea. To go out and train with this lunatic out in the dungeon.
But Dorian was retired
England,
at the time, so he's not as crazy. He was retired. Dorian.
Yeah, and you're going to go from Venice Beach, Gold's Gym, the mecca of right, to this dirty dungeon
cold
basement.
Filthy
thing with you're going Rocky.
The Temple Gym.
Bro, this is Rocky. What was it? Rocky 4?
This was a Rocky move. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you get there. At what point does it dawn on you, I probably made the wrong move here?
I think when Dorian showed up.
The thing is, though, when he picked me up, I was fully jet lagged, and I had no sleep. I'm sitting in the room there, and he's like, I'm like waiting for the time. Like, it was just, I couldn't sleep. So then I'm like, the sun is coming up. I'm like, oh shit, I better try to sleep. So I'm like, man, I'm trying to like really power nap it now, because I only got like 2 hours to go and I haven't slept all night. So then we went to the gym, Giordano Maserati, he got there, and we come in and going down the steps, goes inside there. And I'm like, okay, I need to save up all my energy for this. So he's like, go warm up. And I'm like, nah, I didn't do it, right? So he came back and said, Chris, warm up.
This is leg day.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
do some cardio and warm your body up. I said, I'm not going to train you unless you're warm. I don't want you to get hurt, when you're out here training with me.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I'm doing cardio. I'm like thinking I need to save my strength, but he was right. I needed to warm my body up. But I had my headphones on. I always wore headphones throughout the time when I was competing or training or whatever. So he's like, Chris, take the headphones on. Okay, so I got one in my ear like this. He's like, Chris, he takes it off my head and he walks him like a school teacher to the back of the desk, the counter, and puts it there, and it comes back. He said, okay, let's go. Mm-hmm. And so I started going, and then he's like, coaching me up and asking me to, put all I got into this one repetition. And he was just like, and I was used to being in Venice. We got the breeze coming through.
Mm-hmm. Now you're in a basement.
From one side to the next. And, when you do a set of leg extensions, you start to burn, you get off.
Sure.
It's burning. Time is up. So I went to get off, and he just shoulder blocked me.
Oh, boy.
Back onto the machine.
Now you're in a fight. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he's like, I didn't tell you to stop. Keep going. I was like, oh. So I'm just like,
oh, wow.
Discombobulated already from the first set. And I was just like, wait a minute. Like that was an eye opener. But I felt like I would normally feel throughout my whole set, like I'm fully pumped, like off the first exercise. So going to leg press, that was another eye opener, because it was getting heavier and heavier, but he was still wanting me to push, through these pain barriers and force reps and everything, and the techniques behind all the different lifts and where to focus on the different muscle groups.
So Chris, who had the harder shoulder block, Dorian or Mike Tyson?
You're taking it back.
No.
He was 30 years younger when Mike Tyson came around.
Mike was like a slap in the back of the head. That was a total different thing.
Yeah, right.
Something I hate.
What it sounds like you're explaining to us, Chris, is that you were going back to school with Dorian. Like, I know that you would come in the gym at Venice Beach and like you have your headphones on and you just train. It sounds like here you're processing what's coming. Like you're waiting, what's the next thing I'm gonna do? Like, was he set out to like destroy you on your first workout?
Right.
Yeah, he was just asking me to do things, and I was just doing them to the T.
Okay.
Like, I didn't come here to play around.
Yeah.
I came and do exactly what I needed to do. And he was saying, he actually said on the video, he said, you just got to go back to the basics, Chris.
Yeah.
Got to go back to the basics, like that. And I was just like, man, it was no air coming in that place. It only had like a little small fan in the top of the gym, and it was like, it was the original gym that he, put together himself.
Yeah, for I don't know if Bob's been there, but the Temple Gym.
I've seen pictures and
You
seen
walk
video.
down underground, and there's no window. There's no windows. So whoever's in there is sucking up all the oxygen. If you're training hard, especially legs, that oxygen is going to disappear. And the first thing to go when the oxygen's gone is like your equilibrium. You start to see these things. So did you run up the stairs to get out into the parking lot to toss your cookies?
I had to wobble up the stairs, and I laid there right by the trash dump.
I'll put the video up. This is going to be classic.
With all the rats and all the trash, and I didn't get
Yeah. Well, how long did it last? How long did it last, Chris? This experience with Dorian, this because it didn't work for you. The style.
I mean, it worked. I just found that I wasn't going to be what I wanted to be. And I didn't want to come back not being what the real deal was all about.
Yeah.
Like, if I showed you my best shot, there's no need for me to try.
So it was over. It was done in England. That was it.
So it sounds like it was a good experience. I mean, obviously it's Dorian Yates. It's a whole different kind of mentality, but not for you.
No, it was awesome. I took what he had to give me, and I let him know. I was like, because we did the show, we did all this stuff, and it's like I totally like grasped what he wanted from me.
Well, it sounds.
And then I was like, huh?
No, go ahead, finish.
And then I was like, I think I'm gonna start training people, and I was like asking him, like, do you feel like I'm, at that level where I can do that? And then I went. He was like, gave me the nod, like, hell yeah. And
then we put
together this program, and I had a great experience with him, and we're still brothers to this day. And he just instilled in me right then and there. Like, he just connected all the dots that I was looking for my whole life.
Yeah.
And I just feel like if I was training like that, he tried to get me when I was like 32 to 35. And I was like, but I was comfortable doing what I was doing, where I was at. And that's what a lot of these guys do today. They're just comfortable doing what they're doing, where they was at. Before you know it, this whole thing is over. You only got a short window of time to be your best. And after that, it's done.
Well, there are some differences here. I mean, number one, you were in the prime of your career. So it's not like you were doing poorly. You were winning shows. You were taking runner-ups.
But he was coming off injured.
Top 5 of the Olympia every year, right? So I can see the difference between that and let's say a guy today who has yet to make his mark, hasn't really even competed, or maybe he hasn't even placed. Maybe he should be trying your techniques or a Dorian, or whatever. So I can see where you guys, you're kind of in two different positions at that point. But Chris, at what point does it dawn on you, like when Sean retired from competing, he was done. Like, he walked away, that was it. He was comfortable, he was good. No, I'm good to go. What was it like for you when it finally dawned on you that, you know what, I'm not going to compete again? Was it hard to miss the stage and not be at the Olympia and not be there with the boys and all that?
Oh yeah, I took a long time. Like, I just disappeared. I just stayed in basically one room and just stayed for months and months and months. And I was totally depressed because, when I first wanted to compete, I wanted to make my mark. I wanted to make my name in the sport and people to know that I was, my name is synonymous with the sport. That was basically my game, but I wanted to beat everybody in the world. I wanted to see how many heads I could take down. And I just but when it was all over and then I didn't finish how I thought I would. I thought I'd be able to walk away, but it wasn't on my own terms. I still wanted more. And then I did some schooling for training people, and I took all the tools that I learned from the posing, the training, the everything it takes. And I said, I'm just going to start helping people, and I'm going to start putting my passion and my energy into other people. And then, but when my passion is done, I'm going to be done with it, But this is just my this is my, and I probably evolve into a different area now. I'm actually starting to promote shows now, where we're doing a free posing clinic. I got a Brandon Henderson coming. I got Breon Ashley coming to
Olympia
April 24th.
Nice.
We're gonna do a posing clinic, and my competition May 22nd, which I'm producing the Chris Cormier Classic, the 3rd annual. And
Milwaukee, right? Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah, in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And then we're doing like some great flight vouchers for the winners, and also trifecta vouchers. We got some great prizes and bags. Chic is sponsoring the show also. We have we got a ton of, we're getting some great sponsors for the show. So I'm just moving in that direction, but also helping and training people. I still love to train people. I'm not in the gym 8, 9, 10 hours a day.
You can see that.
Yeah.
When do you want to go in the gym with me, Chris? That's the question.
Son,
Tell Bob the story about me not picking you up from the gym. Bob has to hear this story from you.
Oh,
because,
really?
Yeah, I want to get to it right after. We're going to take one commercial break and let you tell your infamous story that he tells around the world about the encounter with Sugar Sean Ray.
And your chances of training with me.
Oh, we'll take that commercial break. On that note, we'll be right back with The Real Deal.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
All right, you're watching Monday Night Muscle with The Real Deal, Chris Cormier, and the voice of professional bodybuilding, Bob Chick. I was just getting to a story that Chris just cannot shake. It's kind of like that story about the orange and Kevin Levrone backstage. Back in 1996, I believe this was, Bob. I mean, I know you were just a little toddler coming out of high school, like whatever. But 96, Chris, you were actually training with me at Fountain Valley, what was it, Powerhouse Gym. We were training for the upcoming 96 Mr. Olympia held in Chicago, the Windy City, and The Real Deal decided to match up with me, which I think you were staying in Huntington Beach or Newport Beach. I was over in Newport Beach, and we finally
right down the harbor.
There we go.
Which was only like a 3-minute drive, 5-minute drive to the gym.
Oh, you're already laying down the foundation. Okay, yeah, it was 3 minutes to the gym. Anyway, me and Chris were going back and forth. It was a heavyweight fight. Okay, we were battling it out.
Okay,
and we were training. And one day, what happened, Chris? You called me or something? What happened? I don't even remember.
Yeah, my Jeep wasn't leaving first gear when I was trying to go to the gym. So
car problems.
It'll take a long time to get there.
I said, okay, it's stuck in first. Let me call my buddy Sean.
I'm getting ready to go to the gym.
Since I was a teenager. He gave me my first place in my first teenage win.
Yeah, baby.
He was Mr. Teenage World.
Yeah.
And Sean thought that if he passed by my house, he shouldn't just pull over. Past my house to the gym, he shouldn't pull over. I live right there on the harbor.
He's trying to turn me into an Uber.
And so Sean would call me like every morning. You don't understand.
That was his wake up call.
Yeah, he's like,
early bird gets the worm.
Early bird gets the worm. For like 10 years in a row. That's what he was saying.
But the second mouse gets the cheese.
Early bird gets the worm. And Chris is waking up, finds his car on the 11th hour. It's not moving out of first gear. By that time, I'm at the gym. I'm actually working out. I'm doing cardio, waiting for Chris Cormier to show up. And I think he called me or I called him and he said, I got car problems. I said, dude, you got about a half an hour to get to the gym. I'm starting without you. I had a show to win.
Come on, we boys. Like, what's going on? Like,
Chris, I'm trying to become Mr. Olympia. That's why I'm here at the gym waiting for you.
I'm not going to try to help you beat me. That's what he said.
That's classic.
If you beat me, we're training partners. What are you talking about?
Something's never changed.
Help me do something.
I said, Chris, get in a taxi. Do whatever you got to do. Next thing I know, Chris didn't show up. I did the workout.
Okay. All right.
He didn't talk to me until I saw him on stage at the Olympia getting eighth place.
Oh, wait a minute. So that was it for the working out?
No, that was it. We were done.
I said, I'm never training with you ever again.
He hated me on that moment because I didn't turn myself into an Uber driver. I knew if I if I picked you up that day, I'd be picking you up every day, and I was out.
Wow.
Dude, I was like, this guy's a total.
You motivated
So what
me,
happens
Chris.
at the Olympia?
Chris was my motivation. When he got announced, like 8th place, I guess it was. I was standing there with Dorian, first and second. I looked at Chris and said, "You should have showed up. You should have got the taxi."
There it is.
So there it is. I'll see you down the road, and I'll give you credit. It took you 3 more years to actually. He took me out of the '99 Olympia. You finally caught up to me.
But I was just looking at that photo when you gave my trophy. I was just a little guy, and you were like Mr. World Teenager.
Hey, you're only 2 years younger. Calm down.
But but you had a head start because that short body of yours.
Yeah, I got all those excuses, but I'll give you this credit,
But
Chris.
then you stopped.
I stopped.
You stopped improving, and then I went over and reached over and gave you the.
This is
Chris,
when Chris was hanging out with the big guys.
Well, Chris,
doing
you
all the big guy
were known
stuff.
as one of the stronger bodybuilders at
was.
Gold's, putting up some pretty impressive weights. So I don't know. It might have been to your benefit that he didn't show up at the gym. You may not have made the stage.
Chris was training with Paul Dillette, Flex Wheeler, Charles Glass, Rico McClellan. He had to train with 3 people to beat me.
He had the whole team.
He had to train with 3 guys to get
That's
me.
because
And
you
he had
needed
a
those
coach.
guys to lift up those 170-pound dumbbells and stuff. You know what I mean?
Listen, Chris.
I trained in the same gym as this guy for a year. I saw what he can do. He's.
And so I tried to counterbalance the strength. Chris was the strongest guy I'm training with. So I'd make him do high repetitions at a high pace. We do drop sets.
Chris, who was the biggest underachiever there in terms of that? So you trained with all those guys. So
I mean, there was people like Aaron Baker could have been better.
Yeah. Aaron was.
He was good actually. Aaron was really good.
Yeah, he had a little weird style about him, So I don't think. That was I wasn't trying to, help him improve. He was scared to death in the gym.
What about Craig Titus, man? What was that? Was he? He trained hard.
He was a good. He was a good training partner. He showed up and he worked hard. He's funny though. He's a character, that guy. We got to do another segment on that one.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. Did
you ever get a chance?
But we got to talk about Craig sometime.
Did you ever get the chance to train with Nasser El Somebody?
No, I didn't.
No, me neither.
He was down in San Diego, and I never really ventured down to San Diego. Until recently, I started, training people down there.
Is it true you never saw Dillette with anything heavier than a 40-pound dumbbell?
Yeah, he didn't look like he trained heavy at all.
100%.
Yeah.
Actually, the way I got into a lot of these photo shoots is he would take me along with him.
Yeah.
It wasn't even my photo shoot. It would be like him and Sean.
Yeah.
But I'll show up and I'll lift all the heavy weight, and those guys make all the faces and pose next to me.
Chris Lund loved that.
If it was Chris
Lund,
Lund,
my photo shoot. A lot of these times you see me in the photo shoot.
Let me ask you this, because I never did ask you this, because you did train with Paul on a regular. On a long stretch of time.
Right.
I can't see him under a squat rack ever. Did he squat?
No.
His legs were massive.
Yeah, he had some big old legs.
But when he first came in, we was like, oh, who is this guy? Right?
Yeah.
Everyone coming to Venice.
He won the
it's
North
like
America.
it's like gunslingers. Everyone's waiting with their guys, see who's got the quickest gun. He's coming in and he's like, you know how it was, John.
Yeah.
So we come in and we're like, who is this guy? We're
towel around his neck.
Him, right? Mm-hmm. We're not speaking to him. We're just like looking at this guy. He's like, he had these shoulders like this wide, big cannonball shoulders. But we was like, he that tall, he don't have any legs.
Yeah.
So he was like, so then one day he took his pants down and we were just like shocked. He's like,
right.
Huge calves, huge quads, big old man. He's like one of the biggest guys you ever want to see,
I never seen him squat, and I never saw him train calves.
If
had them both.
If Paul Dillette came out now, we're just going to move him till today, and he comes to you to get him right, what could you have done with those genetics, Chris?
Oh, something crazy.
I mean, he had some freaky genetics, and this guy didn't do nothing. Like you say, he never trained legs. He had those 24-inch arms. I don't think I ever saw him curl more than a 35 or a 40-pound dumbbell.
Even if you see him backstage, he would rarely pump up. He would just
nothing.
do like these little
push-ups.
He would do these little push-ups
for the triceps
over a sink, just doing like the little push-ups. And then he'd go on stage. That was it.
The knock on Paul, though, Chris, was his back. It was like 2 deltoids, and there was nothing else after that. He had the back lat spread. He just didn't have the meat.
I would have changed his training style a little bit, I think, and I would have put him. I think I would have made something more happen. I think also we couldn't get him to get more discipline on that posing.
Yeah.
Oh well, his posing was.
He was like, because when we go in the posing room, me, Rico, and Flex. We said, Paul, come on, let's go. We got to go get in the posing room. He's like, oh no, I'll do it at home. I'll do it at home, right? So he kept telling us this for week after week. So I said, me and Rico was like, okay, we're gonna go to your house and see what your posing room is like. And we went there. You know those skinny mirrors with the
yeah.
He had that up against the wall. He was like, this is where I pose. I'm like, oh, you can't pose.
He's so funny. Big man. He's 5 feet wide. He's got a mirror that's like my 14-year-old daughter has in her room.
It was just like, oh my God.
Chris, share with Bob back in the day, because Bob came in literally on the end of your career. What it was like to be in those posing rooms after you trained.
Well, no, wait a minute. Let me back up, actually, because I was actually out in Venice for a stretch in the early '90s, and that's
okay.
Oh, that's right.
We were we were both trying to turn
Hollywood
commercials.
Project Hollywood.
We were part of that infamous '91 Nationals. Now.
Yeah, that was a tough '91 Nationals.
Listen, it was hard back then as an amateur, but I was. We saw that, and then of course, Chris
mentioned that because he beat me.
There you go.
Yeah, we were in
the only time I ever beat him.
But talk about that infamous posing room, because that thing got some mileage out of the people that knew how to use it.
Yeah.
That posing room,
it was
no joke.
We'd go in there, and sometimes we'll ask and tell each other what we think, and that didn't go over too well sometimes with Flex. Flex would be pissed off for a couple of weeks if you told him what you
really thought. Exactly. He didn't want to hear the truth.
So but we all helped each other, pushed each other. The windows all fogged up. We didn't have so much. When it gets really hot and steamy, you start to get sleepy. So we're falling asleep in between our opposing sets. We either have to do like 3 rounds.
Yeah, there were sessions. Correct.
So they had to go 3 rounds.
Yeah.
The whole place is just all sweaty and.
That thing needed some ventilation.
Yeah, it was definitely it was an extension. It was an extension of the workout, because you did the training, then you did the posing. Yeah.
So let's fast forward to this year, because the Olympia just took place just a few months ago. We got a brand new winner in Big Ramy, who looked fantastic. And give me your thoughts on this past Olympia, Chris.
Well, I think a lot of these guys always knew Ramy could come in like a Barry Bonds and just knock it out the park one day. It was always going to be up to him what he put into what he's doing, and also some good guidance along the way. I spent some time in Ramy's world with the whole the training, and we were posing, and he was doing his thing, and he was improving. Actually, you could still see some of the effects of what he's done over the years. But he put it all together this year, and when he first came out, I was little like, Ramy's a little flat, he's a little flat.
Yeah.
And then they go backstage, and he came back out again, and he was fuller, and a little harder. I'm like, okay, let's see. And then he started, posing, and somehow he was getting better as he started to pose. And a lot of guys started to
fade,
to falter and fade, and and this guy was coming on strong, and he did the same thing at the night show. He came out a little flat again, but then he went behind stage, did whatever, pumped, drank, ate, whatever he did, came out fuller. And he was just that thoroughbred racehorse that just outlasted and outshined at the end.
I think it was clear that Dennis James, the last 3 weeks, was very adamant that that was the number one thing he made Ramy do, was pose.
I think that was the difference.
That's where he was losing a lot.
The thing is, I've never seen Ramy the last couple of weeks before any show.
Right.
Not, even when I helped him, I never seen him.
Right.
So when he showed up every time, it was like a shock to me also how he looked, because
he's able to sustain it.
Awesome at 5, and that's another thing. Ramy's always in shape. Don't think he's not in shape.
Yeah.
He's in shape. He has to eat clean year round. Like, he's eating a couple burgers when we were out there in Kuwait, and he's in the hospital getting his stomach pumped.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So he's a clean eater just by he has to, because he ate so clean for such a long time. And some people understand that, you can't just eat junk when you've eaten clean a long time.
So what's your take on the Phil Heath situation? Like, he took the 2 years off from competing in the Olympia, and he made the comeback. He had the 2 surgeries. And he still managed to get third. A lot of people controversially might have had him in fourth. I had him in fourth. But what would be your advice to Phil Heath? Is 2021 a place where you want to see him back on the stage trying to recapture old glory? Or is it a point where with your maturity that you're going, listen, Phil, you've done everything you can do. Now it's time for you to go into that next phase. You had to go into that next phase. Dorian had to go into that next phase. I had to go into that next phase. Is it realistic at 41 years old, soon to be 42 this year, that Phil Heath can recapture old glory, or has that ship sailed for him?
I actually personally think he could. I personally think he could if he did some things a little different. If he, did the due diligence with the posing. I don't know what he did exactly. I was in touch with him here and there. Just by chit-chatting here and there, but I still think, third is not a bad thing to take when you spent that much time away from the show. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like you just totally bombed out and whatever. And he was strong when he first came out. He started to fade during the show. Right. I don't know who he's had. I know he's worked with Hani a number of years. I don't know how many top dogs or a real dog has been in his camp. Yeah. To really, and he needs that. I think that's what he's missing. I think he does need that.
Somebody to come in and kick his butt.
To be like, just like whatever you're doing that's making you comfortable, we need to make you uncomfortable.
I agree with you, Chris. That's why I commend you, because you went all the way to England to get uncomfortable to get that fire lit. But don't you think sometimes when you're comfortable, it's almost like you can't take advice from somebody else? Like, what do you know?
Exactly, because you're comfortable, but you need to be riled up. You need to be unsure of that next set. You need to be nervous going to the gym.
Something unfamiliar.
You need that. If he had that, I think he can fare out better. It may not be the same as we saw before when he was younger, because he's an older person now, but he can rekindle something, because I really think he can.
So it was basically
you got to get totally uncomfortable first.
It was still like the abdominal, I think, is what I still said the stomach held him back. Had he fixed the stomach, he could have been more competitive, right?
What I would do?
Yeah.
I would train it every other day, year round, from here till then. I don't know, like I said, I don't know exactly what he does, but I think that all could be fixed. I don't think
it's an interesting premise, Chris, because he's had not one but two surgeries, I think, at least, and maybe a third even in there. I don't know if that can be repaired. I think if he could have done it, I think if he could have done it, he would have. Clearly going for the Olympia, trying to capture not only the title but history of the making. I think if he could have done it, he would have. But
I think it's something different, man. I think you could do something different still.
Possibly. Yeah,
well, let me remind you, Chris, and you were there at the tail end of their careers. Dorian had issues with his stomach.
Right.
Ronnie had issues with his stomach. Right. Phil had issues with his stomach. So we're at that point. None of those guys were able to correct the situation on the way out.
But depends on how much food you're consuming, depends on how your training is going, technique wise, all this stuff. I just don't think there's a physique that can be with that level of genetic potential and genetic high standard that he has, that nothing can be done. Something can be done.
Well, speaking of great physiques, Chris, I'd be remiss. We can't talk about the old days without bringing up Dexter Jackson.
Old man.
Now,
Grandpa.
Chris, you literally came up with Dexter. You saw his first Olympia. You just saw his last Olympia, and every Olympia in between. But what did you think of Dexter's last Olympia appearance?
Well, I'm sure he would have liked to have placed better. Yeah. I know he's a winner. I know he did all he can do all up to this point. He left it all on the stage. He never gave days off. I mean, he stayed lean, had a low body fat for how many years now?
Yeah.
So I was just proud of him, just to see him go out into his own terms, which is not very easy to do, being that he did so many competitions.
Right. Yeah.
I've always been in his corner from day one, because I've always seen the potential, even when he was a younger guy. always seen the potential in him, and always thought that you know, he was going to go down as one of the best. And I used to tell him that. And I used to place ahead of him a lot. Dexter, I beat Dexter so many times.
Right.
He was so upset most of those times, you know, when he felt, you know, after he got close enough to where it was like, okay, you know, I should be beating Chris. He probably like sizing me up at that time. And I was still you know, I just had a different look when we go head to head together than he did, you know. But I was just proud of him to accomplish so much, 29 wins over that length of time, and all the Arnold Classics. What is it, 6 or 7?
9 of them, Chris.
Yeah, we lost
9.
track. Yeah.
His first Arnold Classic win came courtesy of myself. He was
01? No.
He placed ahead of me in 05. It was the first time he ever beat me.
Yeah, and Chris, you got 6 first runner-ups competing at that Arnold. So
Wow.
you know,
Correct.
Wow.
you took it on the chin a few times, but that's some kind of a record, 6 times first runner-up at the Arnold.
Well, I mean, listen, I used to say this about Jay Cutler all the time. And Jay, as we all know, took a whole bunch of runner-ups to his buddy Ronnie Coleman.
6 Olympia runner-ups.
So yeah, he had a whole bunch too. But it was literally those losses that made Jay, in my opinion, because he built quite an impressive fan base, his popularity. And Chris, I look at you much the same as, yeah, you had some great wins in there, but you know what? Those second places.
Some great second places.
Yeah, they were. I mean, you lost to your buddy Flex Wheeler a bunch of times, right?
Yeah.
You lost. I mean, you lost to some great. You know, Lavroni obviously was in there at that stretch.
Yeah.
You had some great bodybuilders. So I don't think. I mean, obviously you compete
Jay
to win.
And Ronnie.
Jay, I mean, all that. So, but you know what? It made you so popular because people. You know, and they would.
They're rooting for me, yeah.
They would pick their teams back then. You were on Team Flex.
Right.
You were on Team Cormier. You know, I mean that type of thing.
Exactly.
And but it made for some great competition. But I don't think it hurt you from a popularity standpoint. I think it actually made.
Sure.
I think it lent to it actually.
Yeah, it added to it. I believe it added to it, and it kind of made me legendary. And if I don't say it was legendary stuff going on, and I was just happy to be in a really challenging lineup most of the time, you know. Just like I appreciate the promoters over the years and all the stuff that I've been through. You know, we all went head to head, and you know, there's been times where we all had to band together as a group of guys and going for what's best for the sport, what's best for the competitors, keeping everybody safe, and all we did. I think we did the whole thing, man.
Well, one of the things that people can go back and find, like you said, on Amazon, is "I Am the Real Deal." That documentary was telling, to say the least, because it did take you on a roller coaster. And people now can follow you on your social media, which is what on Instagram?
It's _ Chris Cormier. That's my my Instagram. The Real Deal Cormier at gmail.com. You reach me there. And like I said, don't forget about my competition, because we have a great show. It's going to be May 20th.
Yeah, we got that, dog. We got you covered here at Monday Night Muscle. We got you covered.
And I need some sponsors. So let's get it on.
Well, we talked about that.
Once you guys can sponsor yourself.
Hey, let me ask you. So, to explain real briefly the Camp Cormier. Is there something else to the Camp Cormier? I see you posting about it.
Yes. You know, that's we pick. You know, the last one I was going to do in Kuwait.
Yeah.
Right when the pandemic hit, so I had to cancel those plans. But I picked different areas. We go and spend a few weeks. It was easy to do it in Kuwait because I had it all wired where I would stay, and people come in. You know, making sure you get into the gym and the food sponsors and stuff I had out there and everything lined up. And you know, we're training, we're posing on a daily basis. Everyone's changing. We have like a little competition about who's doing the best in their camp, and I'm giving you a critique of what I thought about how hard you worked and what you're doing and how to do to help you look your best.
So people just need to follow you to find out when you're going to have the next one and where and when.
Sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I've been doing and having in San Diego also. I have a good little system down there, and yeah, man, that's what I've been up to.
All right, keeping it real, and we're going to look for that part 2 of I Am
Part 2 is coming.
Real
Part
Deal.
2 is in the works.
We'll keep an eye out for that.
For sure, baby.
You're throwing up the C's.
Throwing
All
up
right,
the
man.
C's.
Well, Chris,
You
hang
already
in
know.
there, man. It's good to see you still giving back to the sport that you took so much from. You sucked it dry. You got the maximum out of it. You are the Dennis Rodman of bodybuilding. You were on the high and the low end, and now you're back on the high end again, paying it forward, Bob, to the
Nice.
youth coming up behind. I want you to get this guy at one of the Camp Cormiers. I'll show up
There
and
you go.
videotape.
That's what we need to do, Bob.
I'm in, brother. We can wax the old days now that we're all old guys. So
That's right.
Well, Chris, we really appreciate you stopping by and kind of bringing us up to speed on what's new in the world of the Chris Cormier.
Broderick.
You got it.
That's what his mama called him.
Chris, we'll catch up soon.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in, Chris. We'll catch you on the other side. All right, for Monday Night Muscle and The Real Deal and Bob Chick, I'm Sean Ray.